Thank you. That's the only question that I sort of had a problem with. And the reason is twofold. One is that I don't like talking in the name of my grandfather. You have to understand, I sit here, it's very complex, okay? I'm a person myself. I don't know what my grandfather would have thought. I only can imagine some of the things, but I'm a scientist, and I don't like talking about things that I just imagine. But during the first part, I was thinking about an answer to your question. And my answer is as follows. I think, and I will be, I'll take a risk, okay, by saying this, but I believe in what I'm saying. I work in innovation. I work in something that bridges countries. In the simplest form, it's between two friendly companies, the Netherlands and Israel. But one of the things that I do today, I work a lot in the field of energy and hydrogen, is that I try to develop regional collaboration. I say, I know that I'm living in the Middle East, and it's a very dangerous environment, but I can do something. What can I do? I can try and see if there is a possibility to develop any economic bonds. Is there anything I can do which will enable, not me personally, okay, it's not for me, it's also not for the entire Netherlands or the entire Israel, but at a, I would say, a micro scope, can I do something which will reduce some of the anti-Semitism that exists in our region, some of the hatred that exists. And this, I think, is my message, okay? This is what I believe in. I can commemorate my late grandfather, I do this with a lot of love, but when it comes to nowadays, I feel my own responsibility to try and see whether we can, it sounds like bombastic, but whether we can make this world a better world. And one way is to develop collaboration. I grew up in a way that collaboration always showed me that we both benefit from it. And this is what I think I would like to do, and I hope that this is something that resonates in any of your heart.
Thank you. So, what could parents and schools do to help educate children about the Shoah and the importance of standing up against hate and injustice?
Okay, so I think that I know that I'm in the school now, and it's an important environment, and I think that the school's role is to teach the children the history, to teach the children anything that is related to what happened to the Jewish people. And I think that this school does an excellent job by the activities that Avi told me are happening here around the International Holocaust Memorial Day, about the Holocaust Memorial Day, and therefore I think this is great. The other thing is, what can the parents do? Okay, I always looked at it from a different point of view. Parents can do something else. Parents don't have to necessarily, again it's my view, don't necessarily have to teach. I'm not a historian. But I, as a mother, I can provide values, morals, and therefore I think that if I take your question and I will divide it, that I would let the school, the educational system, teach about the Holocaust and make sure that there will be no ignorance. And on the other hand, I think that it's important that the families will carry on this concept of what happened to the Jewish people. And I will just end by saying that yesterday, during the Zikaron Basalon, we raised this question of how should we commemorate and how should we actually teach the Holocaust. And there were people that said we should do this through the personal stories, because if it's not personal, then it's just 6 million people without any faces or any lives. And there were others that said, no, we should have it in a rigorous way. And what we did yesterday evening is we read a small fraction from a Megillat HaShoah, which exists also in a translation into Spanish. And I think that this is a nice way in which we can combine both worlds, because Machon Shechter in Jerusalem is the one who worked on this Megillah, so again, there from the educational point of view, but we in our houses could use the Megillat HaShoah in order to carry on the Shoah education in a home environment.
I agree on the combination of the rigorous historic event and the testimonies of the people who went through it. Thank you so much. So finally, what message would you like to share with our audience about the importance of remembering Simon Wiesenthal's legacy, and and his ongoing search for justice.
I know that you guys up there have the slides, so can you just show me my last slide that I used this morning? Okay, so first of all, what you can do, okay, is to remember my grandfather. But this is a big word, okay, remember. You can also do something which is very simple, but it is symbolic, and I think it helps. We have a website. Here you can see the URL or the address of the website. And in this website, there is quite a lot of information. But one of the nice and simplest things you can do is you can light a digital memorial candle for Simon Wiesenthal. In the middle, you have the names of many countries, Mexico among them. And we enable people to light a memorial candle for Simon Wiesenthal in 4 places. In Buchach, you remember I told you he was born in Buchach? In Mauthausen, where he was liberated, I told you about this. In Vienna, where he worked and passed away in 2005. And what I did not tell you is that my grandfather is interred in Herzliya in Israel. And you can then enter your name and affiliation. And I can say that since yesterday evening, when we did the Zikaron Salon, there were 6 digital candles from Mexico, and today we already have 54. And Avi told me that many candles will be lit. And this is one thing that you can do to commemorate Simon Wiesenthal.
Thank you so much. We are truly honored to have you here in Mexico City to teach us about your late grandfather's legacy. And I know that you have done an amazing job in the field of Holocaust remembrance and commemoration. Can you share with the audience some of your personal work? Can you show us how they can find some other things in the website?
Yes. Is it possible to get a little bit of light that I can see the audience? There is some light, but I'd like a little bit more. Oh, thank you. I will tell you a personal story, and then I'll show you something in the form of a presentation, which will make it easy for you to follow. Am I talking too fast, or is it okay? Fine, okay. You asked me what I know. We knew very little. I did not even know who my grandparents' family members were. I started genealogy at a very young age. Genealogy, the research of family history, usually older people do this. Usually people start researching their family roots when there's no one to ask. I don't know why, but I started doing this when I was 32 years old. And I had 7 of the 8 branches. I just lacked one branch, and that was the branch of Simon Wiesenthal. As you can imagine, I did ask my grandfather. I came once to Vienna with about 90 pages of testimony, and I said, Opatje, because this is how I called him, can you please help me and give me all these names of your and Zila's family members that were murdered. My grandfather had a fabulous memory, okay? Today we use computers, but he had a fabulous memory. And I got back with 17 pages of testimony. He did not remember, he didn't know, and okay, I had to leave this. When my grandfather passed away in September 2005, my mother enabled Tom Segev, the historian, to write another biography about my grandfather, or a last biography. To do that, she enabled Tom Segev to enter into my grandfather's archive. And I asked Tom, I was then 38 years old, I asked Tom, can you please send me the personal letters? The letters in which it is written, Dear Cousin. Now, dear cousin, okay, I can also call you Sharon, I can call you cousin. It's out of amicable, it's an amicable name. It doesn't really mean that Sharon is my cousin, and she's not. But I thought this could be a good beginning, it could be a good start. And by having the letters of Simon Wiesenthal that were written to people that I thought that they could be family members, and I'm a scientist, eventually you see that you have enough evidence and you can make the connection. I was able to reconstruct the family tree of Simon Wiesenthal. Simon Wiesenthal was born in Buchach, but the family of Simon Wiesenthal is not from Buchach, they're from Skala Podolska, also a Galician shtetl. When I felt that I now have enough information on the family Wiesenthal, I decided to look at all the people, all the Jews that were living in Skala Podolska. Now, you know, these are small shtetls. We're talking about thousands of people. It's not a large number. And therefore, I decided that I will now map the houses in which the Jews lived. I know that a large part of the Olami Ort, or the Sephardi community here, is from the Eastern European countries, such as Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria, and you know that we're looking for that information. Where did our ancestors live before the war? Okay, it's important to us. It's an act of commemoration, of closing these circles. And I did that for Skala Podolska. I developed a database, a knowledge base of the houses in which the Jews lived. In a house, many people could live in that house. In that house, you could have people that I would not even think that they're related. I could assume they're related. I can maybe also prove that. And by doing that, I saw that I can find new information. I know it's becoming complex, and therefore I'll start using my presentation to make it easier for you. But just to finish my thought, if I have a house in Saloniki, okay, and I know the residents, and I know that there is a map, a cadastral map, a map that was the map that showed the houses in, I will go back to Galicia, in the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. A beautiful map. But how can I position that map on Google Map? And what we developed what is called SWIGI, the Simon Wiesenthal Genealogy, Family History, Geolocation Initiative. We developed technology which enable us to take that house in Saloniki. We have today a cadastral map of Kastoria. Is anyone here from Kastoria? In Greece? No? Okay. But we can do that. We can take that house, put the house on the right place, and then you have information on the residents of that house. And what I believe in is, it's true, every person has a name. But what is more important is, every person has a family. If I can show who are the descendants of that person who lived in that house in Istanbul, and how are they related to me, it becomes very meaningful to me, because I'm alive and I would like to know who were my ancestors. And if one of these people was murdered, I would like to light a digital memorial candle for that person, to commemorate that person, and maybe also to develop a personal biography. And this is what we developed, and with your permission, because it is probably very, very abstract, I would like to show you that. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, thanks. So I'll go over there.
Podemos prender un poquito la luz por acá. Yeah, do you remember that map, right? That's part of the website. Let me just show you the website. This is the website. The website is comprised of 4 pillars. On the left-hand side, you have the commemoration of Simon Wiesenthal, including the candles that I showed you, the life story of Simon Wiesenthal, streets and other institutions that are named after Simon Wiesenthal. And in pillars 2, 3, and 4, you have what we call the SWIGI platform, the geolocation of family trees on maps, deportations,
and our educational programs. And I will try and show you an example. Have a look here. This is today the Ukraine. Okay, what we see here, you remember I told you about Skala Podolska? This is Skala Podolska. In yellow, you can see houses that were owned by Jews, in which Jews lived. In orange, you see houses that were owned by non-Jews, in which Jews lived. And in red, you see houses in which non-Jews lived, and they were owned by non-Jews. This is information that is between 200 and 150 years old. These are houses in which people lived in the mid-19th century, and we are able to position them on the map of Skala. Now look, if I will take this Pac-Man and move it into, you see what we see now? We see Skala Podolska as it is today. And we will show you where are the location of the houses. This is, of course, these are not the houses anymore. We show you the location of the houses. You're with me, right? Okay, because I will try and show it to you now online instead of showing you the presentation. But if I lose you, just tell me. Going back. Let's have a look at house number 27. Let's see who lived in this house. There will be a list, right? I told you we will see a list of residents in a given house. 1 second. Look at this. This is a list of people living in the house based on what we call vital records: birth, death, marriage records, taxpayers, voters. But what is very unique is that we have a family tree. You can see a family tree here for people. This does not mean that all these people living in this house are family. We can have more families in a house. But I will show you one thing, and hopefully this will be sufficient. Let's have a look at, yes, let's have a look at Estel Wiesenthal. This is the family tree of Estel Wiesenthal. It's very unique because we are standing on a map. It's like I drive here in Mexico, so we all use Waze to find our way. On a map, we have trees, family trees. Now let's have a look for a sec at the family tree of Simon Wiesenthal. I told you quite a lot about him. Estel Wiesenthal was Simon Wiesenthal's great-grandmother. This is Estel Wiesenthal. And here is Simon Wiesenthal. This is Hillel, his brother who passed away. This is his father, Ashel Henzel, who died in 1915. Now, if I will go to, first of all, this is nice, right? We're in Galicia, we're standing on some kind of map, and we can see this. But look at this. If I will go to Simon Wiesenthal, into his record, I can go to his house. Where was his house? Where is this house? In Vienna. So what we developed is a technology in which we can move from a house in Skala Podolska in the Ukraine to a house in Vienna through the family tree. And here you can see it. So if you go here, if you visit Vienna, you could see the houses in here. So this is just to show you what we have developed, because I don't want to take all the time. I will show you just one more example. If I go into Vienna, and I will show you all the information we have about the houses in Vienna. These are houses in which the Jews lived, and they're buried in Vienna, in the Zentralfriedhof, in the central cemetery in Vienna. And we also have houses of the 65, we also have the 65,000, no, we also have the houses of the 65,000 Jews that were murdered. These are their lost addresses. So let's have a look for a sec. For instance, let's have a look at the family Herzl. You want to see the house of Herzl Kacha. This is the house of Herzl. If I go into this house, I'll go into it. I'll see the family of Herzl. So what we have developed is a technology in which we can locate the houses as well as the people. And for a person like Herzl, this is not related to the Holocaust. But if I will go back to the homepage and show you what we are doing for deportation, then you can see that from Vienna, the Jews were deported to all these places. And for every place, we can show you who are the people that were sent to these places. Let me just give you as an example. Just going to go into this. This is Theresienstadt. 15,228 people were sent to Theresienstadt from Vienna. We want to remember them. I'm not here only to ask you to remember Simon Wiesenthal. I'm here so that together we can remember the 6 million Jews. And how can we do this? In my opinion, by developing their family trees, so we will understand how are they related to us, and to develop a Holocaust memorial, or Simon Wiesenthal Holocaust memorial. So what you can see, that Elsa Abeles has a family tree. And this gives me a good feeling, because it means that someone is related to her. This is her family tree. What you can also see is that, sorry, let's pull that. Actually, I forgot the person here. That she has a memorial page, because we really don't want to forget her. This is her memorial page. Oh, it's too small. Let's go to the homepage and have a look at the fourth pillar of the memorial pages. Look here at the left-hand side, and this is going to be my last thing. This is a memorial page of Clara Borstel Engelsman. She was 100 years old when she was in Westerbork. Westerbork was one of the transportation camps. It was a concentration camp, but not like we know of others. And Clara celebrated her 100th birthday in Westerbork and was sent to Auschwitz and was murdered at the age of 102. But what we do, what we enable, is to develop a personal memorial page of Clara Borstel Engelsman, but also to link to her family tree from this memorial and to go to her address in Amsterdam, from this page. This is what we develop. And I think that this is giving you some kind of idea of what SWIGI stands for. And this is in the name of Simon Wiesenthal. And I think that this project is important for the people who would like to remember the people that were murdered.
Thank you. How can we light the candles?
Okay. So what you can do is you go into the website. Sorry, you're actually here. I apologize. You're here, and then you can go here and light a candle. When you do this, you will choose either an existing camp, concentration camp, place of murder, or you will write a place that is at the moment unknown to us, but we will enter it. You will add all the information of the person you want to remember, whether it's his, can you scroll it down for me and I'll be here? Okay, so you will enter the camp, then you have the first, last and maiden name of the person you want to commemorate, the birth date, the birth address, the birth country, and then you enter information about the date of death of the person, where did he live, what was his last known address, and what is the name of his father and his mother. And then moving to the blue part, you can add a picture, and then you can, in this box, you can write something about the biography, and you can cite the source of the information. And here you can choose the file, which is your family tree. I know it's very challenging, okay? It's very difficult to build a family tree, but if you are doing this, you could do that. Then you fill in your personal details, and if you want, you can also make a donation. It's a huge project. We've been working on this now for 20 years. And this is how you submit a memorial page. You as a community, you can also get engaged with us and do a whole project if you want on a town that a larger part of the community is originally from.
Thank you so much. Can we have some time for the audience to ask some questions?
Ask me any question.
Daremos tiempo para algunas preguntas de la audiencia.